dawn is waiting to see you through. Dare to be like the morning light. Look up to the horizon, burning bright. Let that light shine through you. A new dawn is waiting to see you through. Oh, dawn is waiting to see you through. Dare to dream with all your heart. Keep your eyes on the horizon. That's the perfect place to start. Then you'll feel that dream surrounding you. A new dawn is waiting to see you through. A new dawn will always be the light of a new day. But right here, right now, new dawn is in this place where we celebrate and sing spirit song. New dawn is waiting. This is where we belong. I've been nice to you. Guess what? Will you sing it with me? Here we go. Here we go, everybody. Whoa. Just like that. Whoa. Dawn is waiting to see you through. One more time. A new dawn is waiting to see you through. A new dawn is waiting to see you through. Please take a moment to pray with me. As we take a deep breath and know that we are one with that beautiful, beautiful being, that universal law, that one spirit, that one divine. We are each and every one of us one with that energy. And in so being, we are all brothers and sisters of that one. We are all connected. And as we are one with that one who is beautiful, perfect and whole and complete, we are that as well. We know that we are worthy of love. We are worthy of joy and happiness. We are worthy of so many things in our lives, even though we have moments when we don't feel that way. Just remembering who we are, where we come from, and who our soul truly is will bring us back to that worthiness, that knowing. So as we come together in service today, we are so very grateful for our beautiful music with Karen Karsh, for our AV, for Carol stepping in, for our hospitality, for our ushers, for our beautiful practitioners, and of course for wonderful Reverend Jenn. We are grateful that we all come together on Sunday and make this time a beautiful time of community. And we are grateful and thankful for this time as we say together, and so it is. Have a few quotes for us today. Keep the microphone close to my chin so you can hear me. And the first quote that I have for you today is from Honoré de Batska. And when you doubt your power, you give power to your doubt. I like that one. Another one is from Jan Martel. To choose doubt as a philosophy of life is akin to choosing immobility as a means of transportation. I know, that one really made me laugh, so I like that. And then from our founder, the Honorary Dr. Ernest Holmes, and this is from his book, This Thing Called You. He says, when you withdraw old images of thought and place new ones in front of this mirror of mind, the old reflections or conditions cease to exist, and new ones take their place. And so he says, I am not concerned about what happened yesterday. I know that today everything is made new. I let go of all sense of limitation. I divorce my thought from any belief in lack. I repudiate the idea that I am poor, weak, sick, unhappy. New conditions are being created for me, conditions of harmony, happiness, peace, and joy. All circumstances and situations are being harmonized. Wherever I go, I shall meet peace, joy, and happiness. Whatever I do shall be done with reason and intelligence. I shall be surrounded by friendship, by beauty, by right action. My whole being responds to this conviction. Simply, with complete conviction, I accept my freedom.
We usually follow what's called the global vision for our monthly themes and our talks. And this year, the practitioners had a request based on the feedback we got regarding our visioning that took place a couple of months ago. And one of the messages, and I've mentioned this before, one of the messages that came through really loud and clear throughout that visioning was the concept of abundance and prosperity. And so what we're going to do this year is the first month of each quarter, we're going to have a month of prosperity talk titles that will not match the global vision. One of the reasons I want you to know this is that many of us purchased the little journal kind of diary through home office that has all of the themes for the month, so yours won't match up a couple of months out of the year. But that's not to say you won't get a lot out of what we're doing and how we're going about this. So today, our theme for January is New Life at New Dawn. And today we're going to talk about I am worthy and you are too. And then that's going to be what we're going to carry over into our workshop right after services. I think our greatest challenge for many of us when we are just kind of making our way through life and trying to figure out how to do what we want to do and how to create the life we want is that we get into these self-worth issues. And it shows up in so many variations. And the quotes that Sharon offered also talked about doubt, that's where doubt comes from. When I'm not feeling worthy myself and I'm not trusting myself, I'm doubting pretty much everything, and then that, of course, impacts our faith and going forward. So what we're going to do today is look at some ideas about how we can kind of shift this focus a little bit and look at it a little bit differently, and know that we are, each one of us, worth the effort. So I have this quote from one of my favorite people, who is no longer on this planet, Zig Ziglar. And it says, "Your value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth." So I find it so curious, because you can walk into a room, or you can hang out with some people, or you can have some interactions with your friends, your family, and you get all of this positive feedback. You get all these people telling you how great you are, what's wonderful about you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then one person, just one person, bashes something you did, criticizes the way you said something, the way you interacted, and we get all caught up in that one negative statement. And it's so challenging for us, and so we look at this thinking that all of these people that we come in contact with every day, these total strangers, know something about us and have something to say about us that we need to pay attention to, and it's not the truth. It is just not the truth. So I want to share a little story with you. There was a gentleman who had a son, and the father was getting fairly old, and he knew he was going to be making his transition soon. So he called his son to him, and he said, "I have a gift for you." And he pulled out this old antique watch. And he said, "Here's a watch your grandfather gave me. It is almost 200 years old. But before I give it to you, I want you to go to the jewelry store in the city. I want you to tell them that I want to sell it. But before I sell it, I want to know what it's worth, and see what they tell you." Well, the son thought this was a little interesting, but he did it anyway. He took the watch, he went to the jewelry store, and then he came back to his father and he said, "They offered me $100. And his dad said, "I see." He goes, "Well, take the watch now and go to the pawn shop and see what the pawn shop would give you if we wanted to pawn the watch." And the son said, "Okay." And so he went to the pawn shop, and he came back and he said, "They only offered me $20. And his father said, "I see, I see." And he said, "Okay, well, now what I want you to do is I want you to go to this specific museum." He had it on a card. He said, "I want you to go to this museum, and I want you to show them this watch. And I want you to tell them we'd like to have it evaluated." So the son did what his father said. And when he came back home, he said to his father, "The curator at the museum offered us $375,000 for your watch. He said it is a very rare piece, and it could be included in their precious antiques collection." And the father said this, "I wanted to show you that the right place will value you in the right way. Don't find yourself in the wrong place and get angry because you are not valued. Never stay in a place where someone doesn't see your value or you don't feel appreciated. Because if you don't know your value, you will always, always settle for less than you deserve. People who don't know their value settle. In relationships, in jobs, in daily interactions. When it comes to profession, their job, their friendships, they have to know that they are worth everything, or that they are worth more, and live accordingly. Never settle for someone else's definition." So let's take this with us this week, and just consider this, because maybe you're in the wrong place at that moment in time, when you're feeling out of sorts and you're feeling like people are ignoring you. Boy, I wish I knew this rule back in school. Of course, I don't know where I'd have left and gone to, but hey, yeah, didn't we have a lot of those kind of challenges and complications? And what we must do for ourselves is to really build that self-worth muscle. It's something we get to work on every day, because it doesn't take much. Like I said a minute ago, you can have hundreds of positive comments, and one little tiny comment, criticism, can just kind of take us out and bring us to our knees. So we want to look at what the life is we want and how we intend to work towards it and build it up every single day. I have this quote from Unknown. Don't you dare shrink yourself for someone else's comfort. Do not become small for people who refuse to grow. Now, here's how this works. We are all walking on pathways in our life's journey. Some of us are running, some of us are jumping, some of us are skipping, but you get the gist. We're all going in directions. Some of us may seem more advanced on the pathway. We may seem like we've gotten further than some of the other people. And we may look back and see a whole lot of people back here just kind of struggling, and then they fall down, and then they get on the wrong path, and then they kind of go the other direction for a while, and they just kind of seem lost. And that's how our life paths work. We are each destined, we are each required to follow our own path, to go the direction we want to go the direction we choose to go. And if I go running back there and start grabbing these guys and trying to bring them up here with me, they don't get the growth, they don't get the process, they don't get what they need. So one of the things we want to keep in mind here is that, yes, we're all on a journey, we're all on a life's journey. And some of us are enlightened, some of us may be more enlightened, some of us may be more educated, some of us may speak multiple languages. It's just who we are, and it's how we are. So the thing that doesn't work is if we try to step back and be small, so those guys back there don't feel bad. It's like you just sit down on the path, and I'll sit here and wait till they catch up. So many years ago, I had an opportunity to be a part of an organization that was about human development. And I have a tendency, I haven't always been this way, but I have a tendency to be outspoken and pretty strong-minded in my speech, and I speak with conviction a lot. In fact, I think I've told you all this before. Back in the days when I used to be a trainer, I would say stuff that was just absolutely not true, and just to see if the class was paying attention. And what I started to notice was they were believing me, and then they were repeating it, so I had to always reel it in and say, and by the way, I was joking, that wasn't a true statement, don't go anywhere with that type thing. Anyhow, but it's just who I am. Well, in this human development program, for the first session of it, was the first part of the program was like, I think it was like 40 hours or something, and we just spent a lot of time together, and you didn't get bathroom breaks, and this may sound like something you took one time, and it's really all about building yourself and getting in touch with who you are and stuff. And I really kind of stood out in that class. Well, when we got to the next class, I kept thinking I didn't need to be that person. I needed to give the other people in the room the opportunity to stand up, to speak out, to offer direction, to demonstrate leadership. So I sat back and kept my mouth shut. And after the first day, the instructor came to me and said, "What the heck are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm giving everyone else an opportunity." And he's like, "No, it doesn't work that way. They're not going to step up. They don't have a desire. No one has chosen to. Did you see how quiet it was today? We need you to be who you are." So that's the other piece that we each get to look at for ourselves is, in my space, in this place of who I am and my self-worth, am I being that demonstration of all that I can be? Or am I discounting who I am and how I am because I think I've come on too strong? You know, and they used to say that a man who is assertive is considered a really strong leader, and a woman who is assertive has another title entirely. And it's interesting, and we've done that with genders, but let's not do this anymore. And let's all just look at who am I and how can I show up? And to remember that our playing small doesn't support anyone. Nina Parker says, "You are worthy now. Not when you get the job, not when you lose 20 pounds, not when people know who you are, now, simply because you exist." So let's take this to heart. If I'm going to stand here now, and I'm going to start from this place right here, and I'm going to claim my worthiness, how's that going to look for me? What am I going to do differently in this moment than I might have done yesterday when I was thinking that maybe I wasn't doing such a great job? I had an opportunity this past week, and I kind of got permission to talk about this. I'm not going to use a lot of names, but I'm going to share this story. I had an opportunity this last week to work with a very, very, very dear to my heart individual who had made the decision to get out from under working for someone and to instead start their own business. And I call it the yo-yo effect. I watched the yo-yo effect moment by moment. And the yo-yo effect is where you go, I can do this, I got this, I'm going, oh wait, maybe not, oh my gosh, maybe I can't do that. Oh yes, I can, oh yes, and it was that whole back and forth yo-yo piece, and I kept thinking, when my frustration would get kind of severe, I didn't say anything, I just went to prayer. You know, I get to see this for the truth that it is, and this individual gets to achieve their highest and best, and so on and so forth. Well, what happened in the process was the individual was looking at two businesses. One that looked really clean, record keeping, tax records were provided, all this information. The other one that seemed to be kept secret. There just seemed to be some not openness, not willingness to share. And so a lot of questions started coming up, and I said, okay, well, if you've got questions, that's a good thing. What is your gut telling you? What is going on here? What is going on here? And at one moment in time during the week, she came to me and she goes, every single person I've talked to tells me not to go with this one particular situation. And I said, okay. And she goes, why do I still feel like I should? And I said, I can't answer that for you. And so then the next day she was going off about something again, and I said, so remember yesterday when you said you've talked to all these people, and all these people told you not to go this one direction, but to go the other direction? She said, yeah. I said, well, let's go back to the first scenario. How many people do you know who have said, yes, go with this situation? And she said, nobody, not a single one. And I said, well, you get to make the decision. It's your life. She informed the individual of the somewhat questionable business that she wasn't going to purchase the business. And the individual became hostile. And I'm watching this interaction, and of course they'd had a relationship before, so it wasn't like it was just a business owner, you know, but I kept thinking, what is going on here? Well, needless to say, that whole thing got resolved, dissolved. We're free from that. Nobody's even looking at that anymore. And now she's moving on to this next situation. And is she still having those little, I can't quite breathe right now kind of situations? Is she still having some of those, oh my gosh, what if? Yeah. The what if world will take you out when you're looking at what you are worthy of and moving forward without doubt. As soon as we go to play the what if game, we are projecting into a future that we have no idea what can happen, and we're trying to put negative images into it. Don't do that. We get to avoid doing that. And so what I want you to gain from this is that when you feel worthy, when you are in that place of knowing what is rightfully yours and what you are rightfully capable of, you don't tolerate a lot of other stuff. And what I have discovered for me is that I play this game between unworthiness and ego. And I'll tell myself that, okay, I don't have the right to get upset about this. That's my ego. And I also discovered for myself this last week that that's not quite the truth. Because do I have the right to live in a home that is clean and peaceful and quiet? Do I have the right to interact with family members in a peaceful, calm way? Do I have the right to orchestrate my life in that place of beauty, love, and light? Yes, I do. That's not ego. That's called self-preservation. And when we put that aside for whatever reason, we get beat up and chewed up and spit out pretty regularly. So let's keep those things in mind this week. And this week, as you're going forward through your week, if you come into that point where you just think, oh, this doesn't feel right, or I'm not sure what I should do, okay, that's fine. Stop, take a seat, breathe, allow some space. Sometimes in a minute or two, you get the realization of what you were dealing with, and sometimes it won't show up till the next day, but take the moment, take the pause. We have this wonderful thing. You can hold it in your hand. It's called a remote control. And I don't know what your apparatus is at your house, but almost all of them have a front and a back arrow. So you can be watching something on television and go, wait, what was that? And pause it and back it up and look at it again. We need to do that with our thoughts. We need to do that with our mindset that says, oh my gosh, I'm not capable, I can't do this. And pause and go, okay, but yes, maybe I am. Let's back it up and see what kind of information was coming to me that was trying to block that or change that for me. I believe that boldness is a big part of our expression in how we show up on planet Earth. Being bold. And years ago, I fell in love with the song by Janice Stanwyck called If I Were Brave. And I would sing that song over and over and play it over and over again because I was afraid to get out of a situation that was so detrimental to me. I couldn't imagine how my life was going to be if I got out of it. But the more I listened to that song, and the more I listened to the words talking about, if I were brave, I'd do this, if I were brave, I'd do this, it was like, and after a while, I just started doing those things. Every single one of us was created in the image of spirit. Every single one of us. There isn't a single human being now or ever that was missed, that didn't get that God DNA in them at birth. God doesn't create junk. Spirit creates in divine perfection. Who are we slandering if we're saying we're not worth it? What we need to do is remember that that power is within, that energy is within us, and know that we are a part of that divine essence. And it's a good thing. And maybe I just interacted with someone that didn't think I was particularly cute or funny. Okay, whatever, I can move on. I can move on. Because I happen to think I'm pretty cute and funny. So I'm good with that, yeah. I have a statement here from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. And it says, I see the future is bright with promise. It beckons me forward into a more complete realization of my own worth and my rightful place in the universe. So we can get caught up in this mindset of feeling not worthy, of feeling less than. And when we do that, we forget. We forget who we are. We forget where we came from. We forget that we have this power, not only within us, but surrounding us to help us and support us move forward. I love this where it says, the future's bright with promise. It beckons me forward. If you're looking at the year 2024 with hesitancy, a little bit of gloom, fear that it's going to show up like last year did if you had challenges last year, just let that go and remind yourself that the future is bright with promise. Not the future in 5 months, the future in the next minute, in the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes from now, that future. We are creating it, and we're creating it with this beautiful, wonderful mindset that we have and this belief system that do we know who we are, and if we know who we are. So one of the things we can do this week, because we always talk about spiritual practices, is write down affirmations. An affirmative statement is stated in the present now moment, and it is overcoming whatever negative thought I just had. So with the individual I was working with, I said, instead of going into the what-if game and saying, what if this happens, what if this happens, why don't you just stand in this place and say, I've been doing this kind of work for 15 years. I'm capable. People love me and they appreciate what I do. And stop right there. And you don't have to go any further, just to help kind of shift some of that around a little bit. When I was in practitioner training years ago, when we came up with an affirmation that was really powerful for our day, we were told to write it down 100 times. That's with your hand. You know, write down is, because we don't do that so much anymore because we're texting all this stuff. Write it down, hold a pen, write it down. You don't have to use cursive if that bothers you, but write it down. And write it down as many times as you can, and then keep repeating it over and over again, because what we're doing is we are engaging this beautiful, wonderful thing called the brain, and we are telling it to be more positive, because it came from some way old tapes that we've been playing over and over again over the years, and it has a tendency to be kind of negative from time to time. So we want to go forward with that. Rhonda Britton has this for us. You don't have to earn or deserve love. You are love. Loving is never about how others treat you. It is always about how you are treating yourself. I love that. That gives me goosebumps. Many of us growing up experienced this sense that love was taken away from us. Our parents didn't quite know how to do the whole discipline thing. Mine clearly did not. Didn't know how to do the discipline thing. And so sometimes it felt like we were being rejected. It felt like love was taken away from us. And possibly that was a tool that was used poorly, but maybe that was it. And what we get to remember and remind ourselves is that I am love. Each one of us is love. I don't have to earn it. I don't have to go out and do something phenomenal. I don't have to buy everybody in the family presents to get that love. I already am love. It is difficult for us to understand the concept of prosperity when we're living in a space of not feeling loved or not feeling worthy. Because not feeling loved and not feeling worthy are consciousness, are conscious acts of lack. There's not enough for me. Everybody else has got love, and I don't. Everybody else seems to have money, and I don't. When we go into that place, when we go in that mindset, we create that energy that says there isn't enough. And I'm here to tell you, if you don't feel good about you, when we're not feeling worthy, when we're not standing in our power, when we're not in our truth and knowing who we are and how we are, when we're not doing that, we don't have the financial wherewithal to do other things because we don't believe we deserve the money. So in that concept of bringing all this back into that whole theme of prosperity, it is essential for us to know who we are. It is essential for us to understand our worth and to know that there is more than enough love for everyone, and I can give myself the greatest, deepest love possible. And knowing that, I can now move into that place of good relationships and a healthy body and a phenomenal job, if that's what I'm looking for, and a great place to live and a good, dependable vehicle, all of those things that have to do with that whole concept of abundance and prosperity. So let's take some of these key ideas with us today. And as I said before, if you can attend the workshop following service, we're gonna help seed that whole mindset a little bit more. And I'm going to close today with one of my favorite authors, Dr. Seuss. Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. Think of a moment, really, just right now, when you were in the presence of someone who just loved you unconditionally. It didn't matter what you said, didn't matter what you did. That love was felt, it was strong, it was solid, it was powerful. This week, I encourage you all to take time for journaling, a gratitude journal, if you will. I actually have 2 journals now because I got a new one for Christmas, and so my gratitude journal is here, only positive gratitudes go in this one, and then maybe I don't feel quite so happy, positive right this second, I got to talk about something, is over on the other side. So, but take the time, you don't have to go out and buy something fancy, and write about how you're feeling and how you're showing up. And maybe after you went out and did something that you were feeling a little stressed about, it wasn't like exactly in your comfort zone, and you come home, what did that feel like? How did that feed your body? How did that feed your mind and your soul? We can pray and affirm the truth of who we are. And I remember years ago when I first came into this philosophy, I was afraid to say it. I was afraid to think it, because that's not how I had been taught in the however many years of my life beforehand. I had been taught that I'm not worthy. And one day I just thought, well, what if I just start saying it anyway? What if I pretend, I do this a lot, you know that I really am. I'm okay. I'm cool. I got it together. I'm worthy. I'm gonna go do this and let's see what happens. And if we can just do that process, we can eliminate the doubt, the destructive mindsets, and those emotions that just harm us so much. And we can be those beautiful, amazing beacons of light for the rest of the planet. Please pray with me. What I know right here and right now is that there is one power. There is one God, one truth, one light. That essence, that energy that oversees all things, that creator of all things, that creator that lives in back of all things. I call it God, I call it good, I call it spirit, I call it universal wisdom. We can term it however we choose, but we know there's only one. And we know that it lives within each and every one of us because it is our creator. It is from where we came. And knowing this, we have the same attributes, the same strength, the same capability of directing our mind and our thoughts and our actions in a positive way because we are of God. And knowing this, we know that all of us, each and every one of us is connected. We are united. We are unified, one humankind, one human race. How beautiful is that and how reassuring that is. To know that wherever we are, whatever we're doing, we are not alone. We are accompanied by this beautiful spirit. And in knowing this, we know that we are worthy. By God, we are worthy of good, of prosperity, of love, of life. And so this week, as we go forward and we pay attention to this and we allow it to percolate within us, we know that God continues to guide us through our lives, through all that we are and all that we choose to be. And I give thanks for this. I give thanks for the ability to pray. I give thanks for the very presence of Spirit. I give thanks for each and every person in this community and that's visiting here today and everyone that sees this video online. I give thanks for all of this, knowing it is perfect, knowing it is good, and knowing it is all God. And so we just breathe that in, letting it go, knowing it is all well, perfect and divine. We let it go. And we say together, and so it is.
Will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release every fear that blocks my way. With every step I take, it's taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instinct and let Spirit be my guide. I want to live a that's real and pure and free as we walk through this mystery. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release every fear that blocks my way. With every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good.
Hello, I'm Reverend Jenn Wilde, Senior Minister for New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living. New Dawn Center is a global community, and we welcome all people, all paths, all ways of thinking, all philosophies. So know that you are welcome here, and thank you for joining our online community.